If you feel like you're stuck in survival mode, it is not because you're lazy, it's because you're overwhelmed. Over the years of having 5 kids, I've been through that more times than I can count. Early on, it sent me and our home into a spiral. But now I know the secret to getting through and out of it without drowning, and it's not what you think. By the end of this video, you'll know how to keep your home steady in those seasons and how to move smoothly back into normal life when they end. Before we jump into some of the practical tools, we need to first talk about the key to moving through some of these really intense seasons with grace. And that is being able to recognize it early and being self-aware enough to know when you need to simplify and scale back. You want to get to a point where you intentionally are able to simplify way before you hit rock bottom. So years ago, I was really bad about being self-aware enough to know when I needed to scale back. I honestly didn't know what it was to scale back because I was just used to going all the time. And so that was a rude awakening when I had my first trimester, if that makes sense. I just thought that I had to be the same for whatever reason. My husband did not put that expectation on me, but I did it on myself. Anyway, so once I learned that it was okay, I could give myself permission to scale back and to slow down. That was just really helpful. These kinds of seasons can sneak up on you. Some examples of times that you might need to simplify and scale back are first trimester, postpartum. Those are some very obvious ones, but some not so obvious ones might be when you're starting a new homeschool year, or if you have sick kiddos, or hosting out-of-town guests, or you're packing to go on a trip, or maybe life is just exceptionally full for some other reasons. Some things that you may need to look for as signs to scale back are things like, is it hard to get dinner on the table every night? Are you snapping at the kiddos more than normal? Do you consistently feel like you're drowning before lunchtime? In those times, think energy budget. It's very similar to a financial budget. If you only have so much money, you have to focus that money on the necessities. You don't get to spend it on the fun extra things that you might want to do. You focus on food, shelter, clothing, the bare minimum. With energy budget, it's the same thing. You might be used to having a lot more flexibility with your energy, but when it's dwindled down to very little, you have to focus it on where it's most important. Another analogy is the digestive system. When you take in new food, your body literally shunts some blood away from other body parts to your digestive system in order to process the new food and to build. Similarly, when life changes, your mind and your body have to reallocate some of that energy in order to process some of those changes. It just means you have less energy to spend everywhere else, and so you've got to focus all that energy on what's most important in your home. So simplify where it counts. I like to simplify meals, the calendar, and different routines or expectations. And we're going to go into this in a little bit more detail in the next point. But basically with meals, you want to simplify recipes and make it really easy to get good, nourishing food on the table. With calendar, you want to say no to some of the extras. And with your routines and expectations, we want to get it down to the very bare minimum of what needs to happen every day and every week to keep your household running. But here's the thing, simplifying in theory is easy, but actually doing it intentionally and effectively is another story. And without this next step, most people still end up overwhelmed, even when they've tried to cut things back. If you're in a particularly overwhelming season right now and you would like some help moving out of it and into building structure and routines for your home, I created a free mini training that's designed to do exactly that. I'll link that down below. The key to making it through these seasons without spiraling is simple. It's to have a plan, and not a full schedule that you can't keep up with, but a simple skeleton routine made up of only the bare essentials to keep your home afloat. The first time that I did this, I was actually right in the middle of a very overwhelming season. That was good in one sense because I was very intimately aware of what I needed and what would have been helpful. But at the same time, it's even more helpful if you have the plan before you need it. So in this point, I want to help you come up with your own plan so that you can move through these seasons with more grace and more intentionality and less drowning. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to reflect. You want to think through a few questions first, and then you'll make your plan. So some of the first questions to really think through, and I would really take your time thinking through it, is what absolutely has to happen every single day and every single week in order to make the home function. You want to think about food, you want to think about clothing, and you want to think about hygiene and anything else that comes to your mind that's really important to your family. But I would take some time to think through that for your home, what needs to happen, write those things down, and then think through what are some things that you can truly let go of just for a season. Remember, this is not a long time. It does not have to be a long time. It's only for survival mode. You're just shunting the blood, you're shunting your energy away from all the unnecessary things so that you can really focus on processing and building and keeping your home functioning. So, what rooms can you let go of? What extra activities that your family might enjoy? What can you let go of there too? Again, just for a season. If you're a homeschooler, think through what are the bare minimums that you can keep on doing and homeschooling, but what are some things that you could let go of? For me, that might be science experiments or field trips or doing some extras. I might focus on doing arithmetic and reading and some of the other core essentials for homeschool. And then make sure as you're thinking through what's necessary for the days and the weeks that you're including taking care of yourself. Because a lot of times in intense seasons, taking care of ourselves can go to the back burner, fall to the wayside, and honestly, intense seasons are when we need to care for ourselves the most. And I'm not saying selfishly taking away from everybody else to just feed ourselves some grapes and not have any discomfort at all. I'm talking make sure you're getting good rest, make sure you're nourishing your body, make sure you're drinking water, and that you're even taking some time to breathe and do something enjoyable. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. We need to pace ourselves and take care of ourselves along the way so that we can have something to pour into others. And then, based on some of these reflections and the decisions that you're making ahead of time, make a plan. Again, this is going to be a very basic, bare bones flow for your day. If you tend to like to go by the clock, I would recommend having a morning block that starts at a certain time, or a lunch block that starts at a certain time, evening block that starts at a certain time. If you like to more go with the flow of the day, like more tacking it on to a meal time, like after breakfast or after lunch, we do this, that's fine. But basically, take all the daily necessities that you decided were important ahead of time and plug that into one of the blocks in your day. Do it in a way that makes sense and do it in a way that leaves plenty of margin for life to happen. And then I would go ahead and make a simple meal plan where you have 7 meals at least that you can rotate during the time of survival mode. I would recommend that these meals be very simple, that you can cook in 30 minutes or less, and are meals that you usually have ingredients for in your home. And then think delegation. What are some things that you can possibly delegate? Could you delegate some tasks to your children? Could you delegate grocery pickup or grocery delivery? It kind of depends on your season of life, your resources, things like that. But try to think through ahead of time what else you can delegate. Again, I think I've already said this. Seasons like this can vary. They can be just a few days, like if you've got some sick kiddos, or they can be weeks and weeks, like if you're in a postpartum season. But the key is just recognizing when you're in it, implementing your plan accordingly, and then sticking to it and not stressing about all the extras. And please know that when you are sticking to a basic skeleton plan, this is not laziness, this is stewardship. It is faithful homemaking and intentional homemaking. You are just focusing all your efforts and all your energy on what matters the absolute most so that your home can thrive when you guys are in a difficult season. And it won't last forever. Don't hesitate to put this plan into action. It's what's going to carry you through the difficult times. But here's the thing, you know as well as I do that we can't stay there forever, nor do we want to. But if you don't have a plan for what comes next, it's easy to stay stuck there long after the crisis or the moment has passed. This next point that I'm going to share is the key to moving beyond it, smoothly and without burning out. After intense seasons like these, there's a point where you start to crave normalcy again. The temptation is to jump in at full speed, but every time I've done that, it's undone the stability that I had and left me feeling very frustrated. However, when you layer in one routine at a time, each one has a chance to stick, and that's when real momentum begins. So here's how to do that. First, you want to make sure that you're strengthening the base. You want to make sure that this basic skeleton routine that you've already been doing is solid, that it's automatic, that it's easy, and you're moving through it without much thought. After that's already there, every 1 to 2 weeks, you can layer in a foundational routine back into your rhythm. Some examples might be your normal weekly planning and your grocery runs, or your normal cleaning routines, or if you do the weekly theme days, doing one of those at a time, like your laundry day or your errand day, things like that. But I would only layer in one at a time. Really, these routines that you're layering in like this, if it's going to be at a pace of every 1 to 2 weeks, I would make sure that these are routines that you're already pretty used to and that they already worked for your home before. Because if you're building brand new routines from the ground up, that is a little bit of a different approach and it takes a little bit more forethought and time. After you've layered in your normal homemaking routines, then you can start layering in the fun stuff, your hobbies or extra projects, or if you generally like to host in your home and have people over for dinner, start doing that again, or maybe some extra activities that you'd like to do with your kids. The key is with that too is going very slow. Don't do all that at once. Do a little at a time. Only move forward and adding something new once these routines feel automatic and not too difficult. And along the way, make sure you're monitoring your margin. I've already said this, but take it slow. And if something slips for more than a few days, I would pause and not add anything else in until you get your bearings about you and it starts to feel a little bit more stable, and then you can start adding in some more. Don't aim to move fast back into normal life, aim for stability. If you want more in-depth help creating systems and routines like this for your home, keep an eye out for my free masterclass that's coming out soon. And until then, grab my free mini training that I've already talked about. I'll link that down below. It'll get you started and you'll be the first to know when the masterclass comes out. Other than that, I would love to hear any tips that you might have for moving through overwhelming seasons or difficult times. Let me know in the comments below. And if you found value in this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.